Welcome to On Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today, we're talking about Lost, Season 5, Episodes 7 and 8. I'm Will, also here is Ben, and you can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Ben, I would like to open this episode with a quote from one of the great artists of our time. Now you get to watch her leave out the window. Guess that's why they call it window pane. This line from American hip-hop lyricist Marshall Eminem Mathers on his collaboration with singer Rihanna can be, and probably should be, thought of as a clumsy and inappropriately timed example of the rapper's penchant for wordplay. This is a line from the song Love the Way You Lie, which is about how an abusive relationship can actually be kind of cool. Love the Way You Lie was a mid-tempo hip-hop ballad released on June 18th, 2010, just 1 year after the life and death of Jeremy Bentham. In the previously on Lost recap for this episode, John Locke seeks answers from Christian Shepherd. Locke explains that he was told that he would have to die in order to save the island. Christian, a straight shooter but no source of comfort, tells Locke, I suppose that's why they call it sacrifice. The life and death of Jeremy Bentham shows John Locke caught between forces outside of his understanding. His drive to save the island is something that can be variously exploited or aided by Charles Widmore and Ben Linus. I will conclude this preamble by stating the following. That's an awfully hot coffee pot. Who should I believe about the fate of the island? My name's John Locke. Welcome to the show. How's it going, Ben?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
You got the microphone about a foot away from your mouth. Don't make me re-record all of that. Come on. We're back. We're back and better than ever.
We're back. We're the same clothes. I'm very self-conscious about that. I should have switched.
Yeah. It's been an entire week since we recorded last, of course. No, all right. We broke the kayfabe. We are banking a couple of episodes.
We have to have a couple extra, we have to have the occasional off week so that we can go visit the island for our research. Research.
That's right. Do research. Yeah, we are talking about 7 and 8, season 5, 7 and 8. Yeah, another couple good episodes. Season 5, season 3 wasn't that good. I thought season 4 was really great up until the last episodes. And the season 5, I'm liking even more. This might be. Well, okay. I was gonna say this is what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, hey, maybe Lost is one of those shows that you hear people say like, oh, you gotta watch Lost. Give it a few seasons. It gets good by like the 4th season. I don't think that's the case. I think that like it hooks you right away. It's a really strong pilot. There's a lot of really strong stuff happening in the first couple seasons. Yeah, there's some filler. There's some misses, but I think it's strong right away. But I think eventually, yeah, this show really does find its footing. And we were getting some really interesting, cool stuff, and only stuff that Lost can do. I haven't seen another show that can pull this off. It feels like every scene is an escalation, ramping up of stakes or like another thing. I'm hooting and hollering. I was hooting and hollering all the way through this episode. I know it's kind of like a sad one, but I was kind of into it the whole time. Very into it.
You're kind of edgy like that.
Yeah. To me, sad is actually low-key goated. All right, let's actually just talk about it. Season 5, Episode 7, The Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham. This aired February 25th, 2009. It was directed by J.B. Jack Bender, written by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. The episode begins an unknown amount of time after the crash of Ajira Airways Flight 316, which took off from Los Angeles and has crashed on the small island where the Dharma Initiative Hydra Station is located. That I couldn't quite remember. It sort of feels like, is this a flashback? Is this like pre-crash or something? Because we see one of the crash survivors, Caesar, searching through like an office looking for stuff. And I didn't immediately clock that as like, oh, that's Ben's office on the Hydra station. But it indeed was. He finds several documents and a sawed-off shotgun underneath the desk. Mm-hmm. He's interrupted by Ilana, who was we remember as the lady who was Saeed's agent handler, some sort. Ilana informs Caesar that a man no one remembers seeing on the plane has been found. John Locke.
Guys are pretty perceptive. Couldn't be me. I'd be like, looks like we're all here. I definitely remember who was sitting next to me. And
I guess there was like 4 people.
That is true.
There was a very small flight. But like the reveal of John Locke.
Folks, it's crazy that we crashed. I was thinking it was so weird that there were only like 10 of us on the plane. Do you think that had something to do with it? You think those other people might have been involved?
The reveal of Locke, that it's Locke there. He's like sitting cross-legged on the beach with like the Ajira Airways blanket like on him like a robe. I was so stoked. I was so into it. I think that was one of those moments where like there's a lot of like checkpoints or like, litmus tests that like in the show that's like, okay, if you're not down for this, you're probably just not going to be into the show. But like I was into it. I was hooting and hollering. Locke explains to Ilana the next day, like as she hands him a mango, he takes a bite out of it and says, "This is the best mango I've ever had." He explains that the last thing that he remembers is dying. The narrative then shifts into an extended flashback. I think basically the rest of the entire episode is all flashback. The only like present day stuff we get is that bookends here on the episode. But the narrative shifts into an extended flashback of Locke's time off the island after he left it when correcting the wheel's axis. In late 2007, Locke is transported to a desert in Tunisia, where he is taken to a local hospital. He gets transported in the middle of the desert, and there's a security camera just like on a post watching that exact spot. He's taken to a local hospital because he's got his like screwed up leg, and is visited by one Charles Widmore. Whoa.
Penny's dad. Penny's dad. I can't remember anything else he's done. He's Penny's dad.
We also see Lance Reddick lurking in the background momentarily before he passes out. Widmore tells Locke, he's super friendly and open with Locke. He tells Locke that he led the others until Ben took over and tricked him into leaving the island. Widmore pledges to help Locke reunite the Oceanic Six, who are Jack, Kate, Saeed, Sun, Hurley, and Aaron, in order to take them back to the island. Widmore gives Locke a fake identity, Jeremy Bentham, and assigns Matthew Abaddon to assist him. So Bentham is a Widmore code name. He said, like, since your parents had a sense of humor, I figured this would be appropriate. Abaddon tells Locke, or Abaddon, that's how they say it, right?
I don't remember. I'm not the names guy. I'm never the names guy,
Talk about Lance Reddick. Lance Reddick says to Locke, "Let me know if I can do anything for you." And I mean anything. All right, you got your orders. So Locke goes and he goes on a tour. He visits his old friends. He sees Saeed, Hurley, and Kate. So Saeed is building houses in Santo Domingo, the DR. Hurley, he talks to Saeed, and Saeed is like, "Nope, not coming back. Fuck off." and Locke gets out of there. Hurley is at the mental hospital, and he is drawing a sphinx when Locke shows up. Doesn't really believe that Locke is there. He thinks that he's been being visited by dead people, and so he's not like at all surprised that he shows up. And then he says like, "Okay, if you're really here, hey nurse, am I talking to a guy in a wheelchair?" Just yeah. And then he like freaks the fuck out, which is kind of a funny moment. But then he notices that Abaddon is standing by the car. He's like, "That guy's evil. He pretended to be from Oceanic Airways, and so I'm getting out of here." He takes off. So he's 0 for 2 on that. Then he goes and sees Kate. And Kate is really mean to him. Locke is trying to explain to her like why she should come. He's like, "I was angry and obsessed." She says, "Look how much you've changed." Come on, Kate. Unnecessary. That seems a little out of character for you as well.
She's been different since they got back.
Yeah.
Maybe setting a little double standard for her, but she's been different.
True. That is true. Locke also visits Walt. Good to see Walt. Big Walt. Back on screen. He decides not to ask him to return to the island, though, because he has been through enough already. I thought this was a cool reunion between the characters. I remember, like, they had a good relationship in the first season. Locke's a good dude. He's a good babysitter.
Not quite, but
he's warm. Yeah.
Hello, Locke.
Hello, Mr. Locke.
Hello, Mr. Locke.
Yeah. He's like, "Why are you here? Is my dad dead?" And Locke's like, "Whoa. Last I heard, he was on a freighter near the island." He kind of like, I don't know, doesn't tell him the bad news or whatever. But Walt says like, "I knew you were coming. I saw it in my dreams."
Your dad got blown up.
Got blowed the fuck up.
Nuclear striked.
Yeah, C4. Yeah.
C4.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a nice little moment. But
yeah, it is cool.
Mr. Ben Linus was lurking in the shadows for this one. He saw that interaction. Saw them. So he saw that Lance Reddick's driving him around. Meanwhile, Kate's conversation with Locke leads him to look for his old girlfriend, Helen Norwood, who he discovers has died of a brain aneurysm on April 8th. 4/8.
Oh, yes, it does. Okay.
Just the numbers again.
8. The numbers.
The numbers. While visiting her grave, Abaddon is shot and killed. Whoa! Roaded! Yeah, he got lit up. Back of the car, all shot up. Locke gets in and locks the back seat. He like climbs into the front to like get away. He slams on the gas, recklessly driving, I might add, and goes through a couple of red lights and absolutely smashed up by like 3 separate cars. He awakens in Jack's hospital, where once again the two argue about the island. And I gotta say, Locke is really good.
Patient shows up and wants to argue with me about the island.
Yeah. Locke is like Jair mode as far as like how frequently he's in the hospital, dude. It's so funny, like how he's ill all the time, hurt all the time. And Jack and Locke are just having like a full on like screaming match. Like great chemistry between the actors, like they're doing a great job, but they're full on like screaming in the hospital. And I just imagine like a nurse coming in, "Hey, Dr. Shepard, everything going okay in there?" And he's like, "You thought you were special? You're not special. You're an old sad man." "Can I get you anything?"
Calling your patient an old sad man is very funny.
Yeah. Before Jack leaves the room, Locke tells him that his father, Christian, is alive on the island. He's like, "Well, figured it wasn't Saeed's dad or Hurley's dad."
Why? Why did you think that, Locke?
Well,
Explain a little more.
I'm right, aren't I? He was right.
So no one else? What if it was... Yeah. Could have been somebody else's. Could have been other people's. I guess not of the six. I guess not of the six, you know? Maybe he went around to... Maybe it's not shown, but he went and did that to everyone. He's like, I saw
who's your dad? Yeah,
What are you talking about?
True. This greatly upsets Jack, though, who says that they were never important and angrily leaves. He then goes to a hotel where he attempts to hang himself. And so, he writes that the kind of bitchy suicide note where he says, Jack, I wish you believed me. And he ties up a noose out of an extension cord, which is really nasty work, I gotta say. That's tough.
Yeah.
It's a good detail from the showrunners or from the the writers to include, because like, I don't know, you kind of like expect a rope and you're like, I can kind of like, I don't know, this slot this into like the trope of somebody.
Sheet.
Yeah, or something like that. We're like, oh, the guy gets choked. But then like just making it an extension cable is really like, I don't know, visceral. Like, oh. Guess it would kind of suck to choke yourself out.
Yeah. They don't really call it choking
You
yourself out,
disagree.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Kind of like it sometimes.
No, it's is that a hotel?
Yep.
Fake.
You don't think it's a hotel?
No, but hotels are specifically designed to make it
so you
really
can't kill yourself?
For you to kill yourself there. Yeah.
I suppose that makes sense. But there was like a hole in the ceiling that he exploits. It was like a shitty hotel that like an exposed rafter that he's able to.
Yeah, I mean that'll do it.
That'll do it. Yeah,
I guess. You just bust a hole through the hotels. Even if you go to a nice hotel, I guess if you just bust a hole through the ceiling, you can probably find a rafter.
Yeah, I don't mean to like make too light of this, but like I feel like I'd be able to figure it out. I figure something out. I can make it work.
He's got to go back to the island,
Yeah. But just in time before Locke steps off the table, Ben arrives and he talks him off the table.
Bust through Kramer style.
Jerry, what are you doing? Do you think Kramer would just still grab the box of cereal if Jerry was like still just like swaying in the doorway?
I feel like, okay, this is me trying out for writing for Seinfeld, the show that's been off the air for a long ass time. I feel like House style would probably be that Kramer doesn't really acknowledge that he's hanging himself. He just goes on.
And there's the mix up because Kramer was identified as last being in the apartment with Jerry, but it was because he just went in there to get more food after that he died, and he just didn't realize that, and so he has to try to explain that. And George also kills himself.
I need to borrow an extension cord.
Yeah. Ben admits to shooting Abaddon, claiming it was to protect him. Locke tells Ben that he couldn't convince Hurley, Jack, Kate, Saeed, or Son to return to the island. He's a failure. I'm a failure, Jerry. I'm a failure. However, Ben tells Locke that Jack has booked a ticket to Sydney. Locke realizes that he did convince Jack, and Jack wants to crash on the island. Ben says that with Jack on their side, he can convince the rest. You got one of them. You got the rest of them, big dog. But after learning of Locke's plan to seek advice from Eloise Hawking on how to return to the island, Ben kills Locke, making it look like a suicide. Just when we thought Ben was an ally.
I hate it when your suicide gets interrupted and then you get killed and framed into a suicide.
Mm-hmm. Michael Emerson does such a good job. He's so good. So good at this. That was tough, though. This took me by surprise. This took Zoe by surprise. We were definitely thinking, like, okay, at this point, Ben's an ally. Ben's on our team. Or at least his interests align here, and he actually is helping them out. Ben takes Jin's wedding ring, which Jin had entrusted to Locke. The narrative returns to the present day on the island, where Locke discovers that Ben Linus is among the injured passengers of Flight 316, laying in the bed. This season is seriously cooking. I'm gonna give this another 5.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, this is a great episode.
This is like a lighter 4 for me, I gotta say. But
really,
okay.
No, that was great.
Were you surprised that Ben was involved? I'm just curious where you thought Ben's thing was going to go, given that, there were the proclamations that whoever moves the island can never come back.
What's the question?
Okay. It's established in the past that whoever moves the island can never come back.
Sure. Okay.
So I was curious where you thought Ben's story was going to go, and if you are surprised that he's made it this far.
No.
You're not surprised. Okay.
Not surprised. I don't know. I'm not really thinking about it too hard again.
There you go.
But like, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me that Ben, he's always has more tricks. Dude always has more tricks. He's always got a plan.
But there's a difference between a plan and then outsmarting, the island, outsmarting your own destiny, sort of. You would think.
Well, who said that you can never return to the island once you leave? Didn't Ben say that?
Oh.
He's a liar.
Okay.
Plus, we know that John is back on the island.
Well, yeah, that's true. But John didn't quite move the island.
He didn't?
Well, Ben moved the island. John fixed
He moved
the
it
wheel.
again. He moved it again. There was a big jump.
Yeah, but
as we'll see,
he kind of fixed. I could see that being written in as like a, he didn't move the island, but he fixed it. You get a pass. You get a pass on that extra little rule. But okay. Anyway,
I mean, Ben does come back to the island.
Ben does come back. I know. I thought that might surprise you. Because, he's like late. I feel like they're kind of setting it up because he's like, gets beat up. Then he's the last person to get onto the plane.
Is he actually going to make it?
Out cold.
I think if I was paying closer attention, maybe it would surprise me more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sure. There he is. Very good.
Cool.
This episode of Lost on Ice, the show about the show 20 years later, was brought to you by us. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and possibly telling a friend about the show. Let's talk about Season 5, Episode 8. How do you say this? How would you say the title of this episode, Ben?
LaFleur.
That's how I would say it, too. LaFleur. They'd be saying LaFleur.
LaFleur?
In the episode, mm-hmm. This aired March 4th, 2009. It was directed by Mark Goldman. I don't know if we've seen an episode by him yet, but this was written by Elizabeth Sarnoff and Kyle Pennington. On the island, we have a lot to get into with this episode here. On the island, after John Locke falls into the chamber with the wheel during a time jump, the survivors, who are Sawyer, Juliet, Miles, Daniel, and Jin, briefly arrive to a time when there is an ancient statue standing on the island. Ooh. I think they kind of look at each other, and one of them probably says, and because they say this every 5 minutes, "When are we?"
Yep.
After Locke turns the wheel, the survivors arrive to 1974. They look at each other again and say, now when are we? They are at the peak of the Dharma Initiative's presence on the island, in fact. Now that John has pushed the wheel, the time jumps have stopped. They're stuck in the past. It was like a pretty big flash there, and their headaches go away. They stop bleeding their nose. They think they did it.
They're in the Reagan years of the Dharma Initiative. They're
the Halcyon days.
Halcyon days. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious that you put it the way you did.
I'm not endorsing it. I'm not endorsing that thinking. It's just I don't know actually why I put it that way.
Because it wasn't literally. So
who what?
I think
was this president back then? Who was the president in 1974?
Obviously, it was. Do you want to guess? I have it now.
No, I don't want to guess. I don't.
Ford.
Gerald?
Yeah, Jerry. Jerry.
Okay, cool.
So this kind of like clears a little something up for me, I think. So we know that it's been like 3 years since we do like the 3 years into the future where like they all get on the airplane again, right? To like theoretically like maybe come back, and like that Locke might come back to save them. Is the good kind of plan, I guess. And so I wondered are they really going to be like hurtling around through time for 3 years straight? That's brutal. Have they been doing that for this whole time? But no, I guess because, Locke stopped it in 1974. They're going to be stuck there. I mean, I suppose you could just get back down there and just like, crank on that thing until you're back to the time you want to be, right?
I don't think I follow you. I don't follow your slang on that last part. Sounds a little very suspect. That sounds very iffy.
Pull your wheel, get down there and pull your wheel until it's you get your stuff back on the wheel.
Are you saying it in a weird way intentionally?
Yes. Push the wheel, whatever. Move the wheel until your stuff's back.
I guess. I think I've kind of lost you now. I was too distracted by the weird way that you were saying that. But yeah. Also, there could be,
please get your mind out of the gutter.
You could establish that there's a little bit of a latency, or a good deal of latency in between the time jumps, so that they could be everybody else is doing their thing for 3 years, but the time traveling folks left on the island, just speaking generally, that they're experiencing a couple days worth, a day worth of their time, but it's actually spanning the exact same time as Jack and Co. back in America.
Yeah, the persistence of their perception, if they had like kept a timer on them the whole time, it would match. Yeah. I guess I'm just thinking like, I don't know if they actually are stuck in 1974. Because I mean, I know that the well is gone. But like if they were able to get down to that wheel, couldn't they just crank the wheel and like move the island until they're back in 2006 or whatever?
Maybe.
Okay.
Kind of hard. I don't know.
I mean, probably it's probably one of those like, what?
Does the wheel work that way? Can you dial it into 2006 though?
No, I think it's sort of like just hit a random number generator until you get the number you want, which isn't super effective.
That's true.
Probably just doing it for a while, but you can get close enough.
Sure.
They seem pretty eager to accept that they are stuck in the past, though.
Yeah, that's true. Destiny is going to take them. I'm of the mindset that the destiny is going to take them where they need to be.
I think that's true. I think that is honestly what's going on with the island here. The group comes across a pair of Dharma Initiative members who have been captured by two of the island's native inhabitants, known as the Others, or the Hostiles, as the Others called them, I suppose. Juliet and Sawyer kill these Others and free Amy, but her husband Paul has been killed. So in this group, Juliet is always the only one with her wits about her at any point. She gets shit done.
Mentally locked in for like the entire season so far.
The whole show, frankly. She's
I don't know about that. I think when she's beginning, she's a little here and there.
Like when she first got to the island?
No, but every from when she arrives on the island, well, actually even before, to the beginning of the season, she's not the most mentally locked in, I'd say.
I think she's definitely locked in. But whatever, whether she's always been like that or now she is more so, she's definitely locked in now. She's great, and I really like her and Sawyer's dynamic. It's the best relationship on the show, I think. And I like Sawyer as their leader now too. Juliet backs him up, even though he has bad ideas. She still backs him up.
Ben, vindicated. Vindicated. I think I described
Sawyer would make a good leader.
Good. I think we discussed this in the past. A bit of an alpha dude can make for a good leader. Does make for a good leader in times like these.
I suppose. Yeah. I don't think that. Okay. What do the Others actually call themselves? So there's the Dharma Initiative, but that's not what Ben, Juliet, and Richard Alpert's group was.
Yeah. I don't know. They need a better name than other. Why does everybody just keep calling them the Others?
I mean, Juliet refers to them as Others as well, but just because she's just code switching around like this because that's what you guys call them. But yeah, the hostile indigenous people as
I wouldn't say that one either.
Horus. Well, that's what Horus calls them.
Yeah.
Yeah. They call them the hostiles.
Think of a different name. We should think of a different name. I'm the woke colonialist. The woke colonist on the island. We need a better name for them before we take them over.
I acknowledge that I am on your land here. Now, off to jail. The group returns to the barracks where Amy resides. However, she tricks them into walking through the sonic fence which surrounds the barracks, knocking them unconscious. She's got little earplugs in. She doesn't actually disable the sonic fence there, as Juliet commanded her to do. Damn. I feel like
they should have been doing that before.
Juliet should have entered the code that she knew. I know that it's probably changed in all those years.
Damn, they never changed the password.
She should try it and then make Amy walk through it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sawyer wakes up and is confronted by one Horace Goodspeed, the leader of the Dharma Initiative on the island. Is he really the leader of the Dharma Initiative? I feel like on his jumpsuit it says like head of IT or something. But he's apparently the leader.
Yeah, he's the leader. Have we heard? Wait, sorry. Have we? Now I can't remember. Have we met him before?
Yes, he appeared in like John's dream. Okay. He was like doing that like routine where he kept chopping down the same tree.
Yes. Okay. So I've said my thing. Okay. Yes. He is part of the James Bond ass name family on the island, but he is actually not part of the family. He's just the guy. We don't have two of them. We don't have two James Bond characters on the island.
No, but I think this is interesting that I think I remember calling out like Horus is like that Egyptian god name. And we get some more Egyptian stuff.
Interesting.
Ancient Egyptian stuff, yeah. Sawyer tells Horace that his name is James LaFleur, and that he and the other survivors were part of a shipwreck on the island, and that they are still looking for other members of their crew. Horace has really bad, like, interrogation techniques because he's like a pretty trusting guy. He doesn't try to coordinate the stories amongst the survivors or anything. All this other survivors are just like, talk to that guy, talk to that guy, talk to that guy. They're like, all right, I guess I'll talk to him. And then he can just say whatever and he believes him. But there you go. Horace tells him that they will have to leave the next day on the submarine because they are not, quote, Dharma material. Don't take this the wrong way. We are not quite Dharma material. Meanwhile, Daniel sees Charlotte Lewis as a young girl, but decides not to say anything to her.
Probably good. Stay away from her.
Great call, Daniel. Hey, little girl, get away. Yeah. I mean, she does say that he was a very scary guy. So.
There's this creep in my past.
Yeah. That night, the spokesman of the others, Richard Albert.
Wait, can I say one thing? Why does his mom not talk like Jeff Goldblum too?
I don't know.
What does the real Jeff Goldblum's mom talk like? You'd think there'd be something a little similar. I know not everybody talks like that. Does Christopher Walken does his mom sound like that? Probably not, but maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think this guy's mom should. I think Daniel's mom should. Do a little bit of whispering.
It is, maybe they, we still don't really know much about the relationship since there's some kind of.
Where's the rest of the guys? I guess we'll be okay. I can't really do the voice either.
Hey, my name is Eloise. Welcome to the church.
Welcome to church. Yep.
I don't know. All right. That night, the spokesman of the others, Richard Albert, enters the barracks to determine why his treaty with Dharma was broken. And finally, at long last, Sawyer calls out that Nestor Carbonell is evidently wearing eyeliner. He says to Horace, like, let me go talk to your friend with the eyeliner out there.
I just happened to look this up while we were watching. Do you know how old Nestor really is today? This is great. He's only in the year 2025, which is where we are right now. He is only 57.
I was going to guess 60. Okay.
So he was only in his he was only 37, whatever, 36, when he was doing this show. He really is a chameleon of time.
An age chameleon?
An age chameleon. I mean, he really does kind of do what his character in the show does. He looks like
stays looking like that. Well,
the
only things I've seen of him are from like 2006 to 2008. So he's always has look like that to me.
Well, I'm looking like. Well, I guess sorry, that's true. I'm taking for granted the fact that I've looked up many
Does
pictures.
Does he still look like that now?
Many pictures of him. I'm looking at him. He looks the same.
Okay.
Mr. Carbonell.
Is it rude to actually look into this situation, that the eyeliner situation? Does he be wearing eyeliner, or are his eyes just like that? Because not that it's bad to wear eyeliner. I'm just wondering, whatever. But
don't know.
All right. Well, I'm thinking okay, we're seeing more and more ancient Egyptian stuff on the show, and I feel like this is just me. So maybe I'm fucked up for this. Isn't it like a thing? Didn't the pharaohs like wear eyeliner or something? Or am I just looking? I remember, is that like a racist cartoon like trope thing? Like, is he an ancient Egyptian guy? Is that what I'm wondering?
Don't know.
Okay, but like the drawings and the paintings of like they have it
They've
like
always
dark
got the eyeliner.
Okay, I'm not just making that up. Okay,
No, you're not making that up. Yeah, when they do the eyes, which they drew a lot of eyes. You know, they give them a long thing. Don't know for real though.
Okay. Sawyer convinces Alpert not to attack Dharma because he is the one who killed the others. Alpert is further convinced when Sawyer shares knowledge of the events that transpired in 1954 when Locke approached him. Because Sawyer has successfully diffused the situation, Horace allows the group to stay for 2 weeks and look for the other crew members of the ship, when in reality they are waiting for Locke to return with the survivors who left the island. 3 years later, the survivors have joined Dharma and are living in the barracks. Sawyer is the well-respected head of security, going by Jim LaFleur, while Jin, who is now fluent in English, continues to search for those who left the island. Amy is pregnant with Horace's baby and due to give birth in 2 weeks. Following an argument between the two of them, though, Horace gets drunk and hurls sticks of dynamite at trees, and Amy goes into early labor. So the episode kind of like opens on this scene actually, and we see like the security guys seeing this go down. Got a big pop in my living room for Patrick Fischler. Love seeing that guy.
Yeah. Spooky. No disrespect in a good way.
He's got to join the rank. He's not famous. It'd be the wrong way to say that he's famous, but he's like character actor like at the highest level sort of thing. Like it's like very recognizable face as like, oh, it's that guy kind of thing.
Yes, for sure.
So
though I know that he's in a lot of other things. Now I'm looking at his filmography, but I think the main thing I would peg him to is Mulholland Drive, right?
Yeah. Which is a super famous movie.
He's in a ton of other stuff.
He stays working. You know who the other guy that is kind of like that is so he's in Blade Runner 2049. He's like the doctor. Do you know who I'm talking about? David Dastmalchian.
Wait, sorry. Are you talking about Patrick Fischler?
No. Sorry. I think Patrick Fischler is like this guy to me. Like
and this guy is Patrick Fischler is not in Blade Runner.
Right.
Okay.
But David Dastmalchian is. He is in Oppenheimer's and Dune. Who's he in? He's like one of the Jesus Christ, this is such a bad tangent to go on. But he's with the Harkonnens. He's one of the he's the Harkonnen Mentat, I believe. Is his
black
job.
And white guys?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But he's like always working. He's like kind of like a skinny white guy with like weird eyes, kind of like Patrick Fischler. No offense to either of you guys. Sorry. But yeah, you're both great.
Oh, cool.
He's also in Twin Peaks: The Return, I guess. So kind of an interesting like Lynchian face. All right. Anyway, sufficiently like insulted him. I think he's great. They're both great. This David guy just catching insane strays on this episode for some reason because he's not even like in this show. But I'm like, the fucked up eyes guy. Sawyer reuses bits. I've noticed. Like he brings Horace back drunk to his wife Amy, and he's like, I'm gonna be telling. We're gonna have to address this. The Coconut Telegraph is gonna get wind of this, and I'm pretty sure that's a season 1 bit that Sawyer says there. Which, to be fair to Sawyer, he's got a new audience. Like, he can say that stuff to these guys. Other people haven't heard it yet. But we, the TV audience, were like, well, come on, Sawyer. New material. You hack.
He's teaching them. He's doing a little, Back to the Future style. You guys aren't gonna like this new slur I invented, but your children will.
He's been off slurs recently. I think he's shown a pretty good growth. It could be because he's alienated all people of color from his immediate, orbit, or he's a better person now.
Sure.
So yeah, Amy is pregnant, goes into labor, and they're like, "Oh shit, we've got to deliver this baby." Sawyer's like, "I know who can do this. Juliet can do this." He goes and gets her. She's working as a mechanic, which is so sick. Juliet rocks. She's underneath the car with an angle grinder doing something, probably cutting the brakes. Somebody setting them up for a murder, but Sawyer comes over and he's like, you got to deliver this baby. And she's like, Sawyer, every woman I've ever helped deliver their baby has died. And Sawyer's like, I don't care. You're like, maybe whatever happened hasn't happened yet. You can still save this woman, save this baby. And that's a good, like, I don't know psychology stuff, but like, I don't know if it's like id and super ego talking to each other, or like the logical and like the emotional parts, like winning out over that. And that's why they're such a good couple, is that Sawyer can like make that emotional appeal. He's very invested in this. He's like makes decisions from the gut, and Julia goes with it. They go into the operating room, and the 70s intern, very like time appropriate, of like, yeah, okay, she's gonna help deliver the baby? Oh, freaking woman doctor, dude. I don't think so. But they make him participate, get Juliet the thing she needs, and Juliet successfully delivers the baby, the first that survived in all her time on the island. She leaves the OR. Sawyer and Jen are sitting on the bench outside, and Juliet cracks. She like is crying happy tears, and when she like breaks through that sort of like carapace of like an emotional front, it's a big deal for her. Sawyer's super proud. Great moment. Very, very good emotional moment, I think. Horace, though, believes that Amy is not yet over her deceased husband. He has an insane story for what prompted this whole crash out of his, where he got drunk and started throwing dynamite around. He found Amy's old husband's necklace in her sock drawer. He says that he was out of clean socks, and so he was going to borrow a pair of hers. I don't know, man. That seems weird.
It's getting confusing. Yeah, it's weird.
But that necklace is I don't know how to say it, but like Ankh symbol with the Egyptian hieroglyph that represents the word life. See it a couple times.
Yeah.
Sawyer goes into a little bit of a monologue here. He reassures him by saying that 3 years is enough time to get over someone, referring to it, of course, to his relationship with Kate. Goes through as like, I had a shot with somebody, but I didn't take it. I thought she was the one. I was in love with her. 3 years on, I don't really remember. I can't remember what she looks like. Like it's just I've moved on, man. 3 years is long enough. And he returns home, picks a flower, and brings it to Juliet. Very sweet moment, although it does seem like Sawyer made Juliet like cook a big dinner on this day that she delivered this baby as well. Seems kind of inappropriate. Anyway, they say that they love each other. They embrace. They smooch. I love the relationship. I don't know. It's really good. Next morning, though, he receives a call from Jin, who has found Kate, Jack, and Hurley in the jungle. Julia's like, what was that? What's the call about? It's like, nothing. Oh, by the way, he also has like glasses on this whole time. He's got like
back to
wired
glasses.
Glasses, man. But he's like, nothing. And he goes out and secretly meets them far from the barracks. They're reunited.
Interesting.
I wish he confided in her. I wish he told her. Is he really over Kate? I don't know. I feel like I'm going to like this episode a lot more in retrospect.
Sure.
Like once that we finish the show, I'm going to return to it. For now, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's kind of where it is for me too. 4.
Yeah. Been handing out a lot of 5s recently. I'm going to cool it. But this was a very good episode. Let's try.
This season of 5s.
Makes a lot of sense. You have any other observations you want to make about the episode here? Either of the ones?
Nope. You have any of those production note things?
Nothing on this one either. This was I guess, it's not quite this episode, but the life and death of Jeremy Bentham and 316 were initially planned to be swapped. And the report was just that like, they thought it would be cooler to do it this direction. So like, okay, I don't know, not much of a note. The other note that I saw, I wasn't going to bring it up, but we've got a little time, so I'm going to bring it up. The actress who plays Charlotte, what's her name? Rebecca, I want to get this right. Mader? Charlotte Lost. Rebecca Mader. Okay. There's apparently a bit of a continuity error or some sort of like error where so Daniel sees young Charlotte running around at Dharma Initiative there in 1974. Apparently it had been like established that Charlotte's birth date was like 1979. And so it didn't make sense that she was there and at that time. And in a podcast that Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse were on, they were asked about this. And they pulled a pretty whack move. They said that Rebecca Mader didn't want people to think that she was older than she actually was, so she insisted that her birth date was 1979.
Yeah, it's her fault.
Then yeah, it's her fault. And then Rebecca Mader later was like, no, there was like, it was on set, like the production designer or something like said it should be this, so we went with it. And then later on, like Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse conceded that she was right about it. So it was like so like unnecessarily throwing her under the bus about that and be like, oh, it was because she was vain about her age.
Yeah. Yeah, you know how she can get.
Yeah.
Really vain. That's very funny.
So I don't know. That's going to do it for the show today, gang. If you like it, consider joining our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Every week, Ben and I will release a bonus hangout show and get into the stuff that we can on the main show. You can write in to us, explain what's going on here to drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. YouTube comments, share the show with a friend. Next week, we're watching Lost Season 5, episodes 9 and 10. We are rapidly approaching. We are past the halfway point of this season.
Yeah. We're almost to the end of the series.
We're almost at the end of the series.
Do not spoil it for us, folks. I still haven't seen the last 2 episodes or whatever.
Yeah, so that's where you stopped? You stopped right before the last 2?
Yeah, I think so. Everything's I mean, I've been kind of doubting myself at a couple of points, wondering like maybe I stopped earlier, but no, everything I've seen so far, I'm like, yep, seen it before. And I don't want to read ahead, but I feel like my memory is correct. It's stopped like one
Such
or
a
two
funny place to
episodes from
stop.
the end.
But
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did because
I did the same thing for Twin Peaks too, you know. Never watched the final two episodes of The Return. Or maybe for that one it's actually just the final episode of The Return.
Of The Return, but you've seen the full first 2 seasons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not seen the full second season
Oh.
or The Return.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, anyway, for Lost, yeah. Everybody's talking about Lost again. Everybody's talking
Everyone is
about
talking
Lost.
about Lost.
It's been hard. It's been hard reading like, you know, media news. What do you call that? What do you call that? TV news? TV media news? Whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Anybody talking about media stuff because everybody's been referencing Lost so much. I think a lot of people have been talking about Severance, but then there's been these
Mhm.
other shows and movies and stuff like that, and people just want to talk about Lost. I've had people at work bring up Lost, and I have to be like, don't tell me.
It's because of our podcast,
I'm
dude.
watching Lost right
Obviously,
now.
our influence is far reaching. Well, yeah, it's been 20 years.
Yeah. I've successfully not seen the end for 20 years, so don't ruin it for me now.
I told you that my uncle ruined it for me. Or like he
Kind of, yeah.
He like said something about it.
Sure.
You know that X, right?
Don't say it to me. Don't say
I'm
it
not
to me,
gonna
guys.
say
I don't talk to anybody. I live a very solitary life.
The only input you receive is Lost episodes every week.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, yep, that's going to do it. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week with episodes 9 and 10. Goodbye.